Prepare yourself for the terror. The prison of madness, where few enter and none return.
Welcome to Unsung Horrors. With Lance. And Erica.
Leave all your sanity behind. It can't help you now.
Welcome to another episode of Unsung Horrors, the podcast where we discuss underseen horror films, specifically those that have fewer than 1,000 views on Letterboxd. I'm Erica.
And I'm Lance.
Lance, how's South by?
It's very busy.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
So for listeners who don't know, I'm working with South by this season, and it is this year, and it's very taxing.
Yeah.
I've been living out of a hotel. So Eric has been very accommodating with the schedule, the recording schedule. We haven't recorded late like this in a long time.
It's bedtime for me right now.
It is. You look tired
Hey,
in a very good
rude.
way. In a very, let's record way. It's been going well. I haven't really seen anything, but I guess I'll chat about a few of the things I see on the next episode.
Share next time.
Yeah, we just got finished with EDU, and we're just 2 days into film right now. Then music starts, but still over a week to go, and I'm already exhausted.
Okay. You look it.
I am.
Take that.
I woke up, and this eye was, swollen. I hope I don't have the poo eye.
Well, you do have a roommate, so you never know.
I do have a roommate now, and that maybe I'll discuss that, too. The housing situation has been fun. I've been told I'm experiencing everything that the staff experiences every year, especially newbies.
Yeah.
So it's been a lot of fun. It's just very exhausting, but
all right.
I'm happy.
Okay. So you're the new person in there
There's a couple of people that were hired on a few weeks before me in different departments.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm bonding. Everybody has had quite the tenure there.
Okay.
Which is really cool to see.
Yeah.
And I get along with everybody there. A lot of people are into film. People are interested in the podcast when I bring it up.
Yeah.
So
hello, new people.
Yeah, you
Hopefully.
better be clicking that like button, subscribe. Yeah, but there's the thing I want to bring up too. So this episode drops on the 13th, which is just a couple of days before my favorite person's birthday. Yeah,
Steve Austin. It's his birthday.
Yes.
That's why it's the 316, right?
He is my favorite person in the world. Yes. No. So everybody, wish Eric a happy birthday. If you listen to this, and I'm going to be posting it, so people will be chiming in. Good. You're the best. I love you.
Thank you.
Yeah. I'll stop hugging you now.
Thank you. Stop touching
That was a
me.
long hold.
Stop.
Sorry.
God. Ugh. Let's go. Let's talk about my favorite thing then.
Yeah.
That's Dead Kids. And there's a couple in the movie that we are going to be talking about for this week's episode. And that is Demon is on the Island from 1983. I am not going to attempt the French pronunciation of it. Every time I do, I sound like a fucking idiot. So
You sound like Lance during every Shawgust episode.
we all sound terrible.
Or every Italian episode, or anything that's not American for Lance.
Hi. I know. Cat is on the podcast. Demon is on the island.
There we go.
All right, so Demon is on the Island is available to watch on archive.org. I put it there.
Very good. Thank you for that.
You're welcome. And as of this recording, it has 217 views on Letterboxd. Just a heads up for folks, a lot of the production info that I'll be sharing, and I say a lot, the few bits of production information I'm going to share come from Jonathan Rigby's Eurogothic book from 2016. So, Demon is on the Island is about Dr. Gabrielle Martin. She moves to an island to begin a new practice and to escape a previous family trauma. She finds that the existing GP, Dr. Paul Marshall, has no intentions of leaving, and she soon tangles with him as a series of accidents involving household items begin occurring. As Dr. Martin begins sort of investigating what's happening, she finds a unique medical connection between all of the deaths, which leads her to an even more peculiar root cause of the accidents themselves. And we'll get into spoilers at the end of the discussion. I'm not going to get into that now, but we will spoil it. So if you haven't already, go to archive. We've got a link in show notes for you to watch it. I linked it on Twitter. I linked it on our Discord. Plenty of places for you to find the link to watch it. Demon is on the Island was written and directed by Francis Leroy. He did mostly sexploitation films. He's most well known for Emmanuel 4 and 7, as well as a very long series of Emmanuel TV movies in the 1990s. And I could not watch any of these because I don't have enough legal adjacent credits right now to do anything. Let's just leave it at that. But I mean, I've seen Emmanuel films, so like I know exactly what they are. And I think most people, or at least probably our listeners, might be more familiar with Black Emmanuel just because Laura Gemser is in so many movies that we love. And I think a lot of people picked up that Severance set. And so not the same. All right. IMDb also credits Owen T. Rosman as a writer, but that's his only listed credit. So I'm not sure if, maybe he just had like an idea for it or something like that and just ended up getting a credit there. But very little information about this film out there, so who knows. All right, we have a score by Christian Galbert. He did the score for a film that both you and I have seen. I know we both really like, The Little Girl Who Lived Down the Lane, starring Jodie Foster.
Yeah, that's a great one. I think I picked that for a double feature pick for something. I think the Hammer pick.
The Sweetness. Don't Take Sweets from Strangers. Yeah. Good pick.
It's a good movie.
Yeah.
Good score.
Yeah. It's all over the place, though.
Yeah, so when it started, it has a very kind of like warped but beautiful melody. Mm-hmm. And it gave me a My Bloody Valentine sound who they're very like shoegazy, kind of very effects driven, but Kevin Shields, the front man, he does like so many like dubs and just layering of guitars where I got this, even though there were like strings or stringed instruments, it's like an orchestra, it sounds like, but it's like very wonky and warpy. Loved it right away.
Yeah, it even starts getting into like kind of sci-fi-ish when she breaks into the doctor's house.
Yes.
And I'm like, okay, the first time I watched it, I was like, it's definitely aliens. Because it's going to be aliens because now it's going sci-fi. And I won't spoil it because we'll get into what it really is.
Well, yeah, just to point out, too, one of my favorite musical drops was when Dr. Martin breaks into Dr. Marshall's house. And there's this synth note. Sounds kind of like a C. That sounds like a dirt. But it's like, and it holds and it rings out for about 30 full seconds. And it just slowly fades. And then like the scene's still going on. And I was completely mesmerized by it. Good job there, Christian Galbert.
Yes. Cinematography is by Jacques Assueris. Nothing that I've seen, but he was a camera operator on Attention, the Kids Are Watching from 1978, which was a June exploitation pick for me a few years ago, starring my boy Alain Delon. And it's one where he's just being fucking mean to kids. And I was like, oh my God, this is so hot.
But he doesn't strangle or do anything, I'm sure. I asked that,
yeah. So Demon is on the Island was filmed in October of 1982 around Normandy. It actually won an award, the Prix du Suspense, at the 1983 Avoriaz Fantastic Film Festival. That's no longer happening. I think that was just from like early 70s to early 90s. And interestingly, I found out that there was a 35 millimeter screening of this film at the Cinematheque in Quebec in January of 2023.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was actually part of a series of 7 films that, quote, put objects or machines at the center of the plot, becoming the main protagonists of the story. I don't necessarily agree that they are the main protagonists, or whatever. But
did they list the other programmed films?
Yeah, so the other films were Maximum Overdrive and Christine. I don't know if you've seen the haunted elevator movies that Dick Moss did, The Lift, and his own remake of that, Down.
I haven't seen those yet.
The Lift I like The Lift better, but whatever, it's his movie, so he can remake it however he wants. The Mangler, Tobe Hooper's 90s haunted machine press movie, which I watched this afternoon.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I watched it.
I have never seen The Mangler.
You're not missing much. It's got some good gore. I mean, some stuff that you would. There's a few parts that I was like, yeah, some stuff got cut there, but it's too long for what it is. And Robert Englund's in it, and he's really hamming it up. And
He's like, Buck, who wants to fuck?
yeah,
Mid-90s,
and who's fuck, what's his name? He played Buffalo Bill, and he was a detective in Monk.
Oh, Ted Levine.
Yes. He's the main detective in it, and he's just like hamming it up in his own way. Like he's just over the top in it, and it's a lot. But it's Tobe Hooper. If you haven't seen it, if you're a completist, it's not bad. It's too long for what it is. The the last one that was in that Cinematheque series was the China Syndrome from 1979, which I also watched, and this stars Jane Fonda, Michael Douglas, Jack Lemmon, Wilford Brimley.
Wow.
Really good, tense thriller about a near accident at a nuclear facility. Highly, highly recommend it. Like, I was on the edge of my seat, and it's really, really good. And it's probably one of the best performances I think I've seen Jane Fonda in, and I think probably because, like, knowing what I know about her and her, sort of political and activism in her real life, I think this is kind of a perfect role for her because she's playing a reporter who is investigating this whole situation. But yeah, I think I used my credits that I had for Amazon and watched it there. Library didn't fucking have it.
What?
I know. I was like, the fuck? Austin Public Library, get it together. All right, so I don't have much on the crew because, like I said, there is not that much information out there. And a lot of the films that a lot of the other crew members did aren't super easy to come by. So jumping into the cast, we have Anne Duperret, who plays Dr. Gabrielle Martin. She has nearly 100 film and television credits. She is still acting to this day. I have seen very few of the films that she is in, though. Spirits of the Dead from 1968. She's got an uncredited role in there. And Golden Knight from 1976, starring Klaus Kinski, which I think was either a Junesploitation or Horror Gives Back pick for me
Nice.
A couple years ago. But I love her in this.
I do too.
Yeah.
Yeah, she is just some of her reactions are so unreal and like in a realistic way, if that makes sense. Like it's clearly acting, and she's just phenomenal in it. She smokes 100
Oh my
cigarettes,
God.
so that is tough to do. Those aren't fake cigarettes.
No, they're not.
She's pro. I mean, I love it. I did want to watch The Blood Rose, but I didn't have a chance to get to pop that on because it's on Tubi. I think I started it and it was a terrible English dub.
I started it and I was like, no, I'm not that committed for this.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm gonna watch some more of her filmography because she's standout in this.
Yeah. She definitely is, and I do want to. I definitely added a bunch of her movies to my watch list, but nothing that was immediately accessible, aside from Blood Rose, and that was a terrible copy. Then we also have Jean-Claude Brialet, who plays Dr. Henry Marshall. He has over 150 film credits, so it was a bit easier to find a few that I have seen. Elevator to the Gallows, The 400 Blows. Shock Troops, which I mentioned in our episode with Heather at the Meeting of Joyous Death. He was also in that. And I think he is just as compelling as Duperret is in this. His sinister, nature is just, it comes through, and I don't know if it's because of the goatee, because anyone with a goatee, I'm automatically you fucking evil.
Yeah. It's the old kind of hammer trick where it's the goatee is the signifier of a villain, and this guy pulls it off so well.
Yeah. And then really quickly with other cast members, we have Pierre Santini, who plays the Mayor Richard. Yeah. I love him too. He's fun.
Yeah, that opening scene, which we'll talk about.
We'll talk about that, yeah.
Yeah, he's hilarious in this.
And then Gabrielle Catand plays Henry Garland, the pharmacist. I did watch one other new one that he was in, The Outsider from 1983, starring Jean-Paul Belmondo. He's also in a couple of Alain Delon movies, Shock Treatment from 1973, Cockshot, and Armageddon 1977, as well as The Story of O from 1975 with Udo Kier. Recommend all of those. Mostly Shock Treatment, because obvious reasons. Catherine Alcover plays Louise. She's the caretaker at Dr. Martin's house that she's staying at. And then Marie Talbot, the mayor's secretary, is played by Cerise. No last name.
Yeah, and she's great in this.
Yeah.
She's like the town gossiper.
She is.
Love her.
So I mentioned don't have a whole lot on a lot of the cast and crew in this. It's one of those just obscure films where, you know, the only write-up on anything that I could find outside of a handful of Letterboxd reviews that were just people commenting about their experience watching it was Jonathan Rigby's, and the few information notes I had about where it was filmed. That's pretty much all I got on it. So
I learned something, so that's good. Ooh. The Normandy, I didn't.
Oh, okay, there you go. I was like, what did you learn? What did you find?
No, I learned something listening to you.
Oh, okay, yeah. So let's get into the film itself. This will probably be a quick one because we're, 15 minutes in and I'm already done with cast and crew.
We are laying in bed as we record this now.
I want to go to bed. No, I'm just kidding. So, Lance, I want to ask you a question before we get into further discussion of it. So before the reveal, what did you think was causing the accidents?
Man, I don't know. I'm trying to... So it gave hints every time it was in the supermarket. It had those creepy green eyes. And I loved those scenes. So I figured, I thought it was some sort of weird, mischievous person living in the supermarket that was like rigging and changing up all the appliances that would just kind of destroy and kill people.
Okay.
I mean, there was kind of like that. I mean, obviously it was weird when there's no power to the electric knife and stuff, but that's kind of what I thought. I wasn't thinking much while I was watching. I was just enjoying the ride because I was tired in the hotel room.
That's
but
fair.
Yeah, apologies there. But I when they were showing the eyes, I figured, okay, somebody's in there, somebody's watching and waiting for everybody to leave, and they're going to start kind of changing up the wiring or something weird.
Okay.
What was your initial?
I honestly, I thought it was like there was like some curse on the town kind of thing happening. And then they had, they were showing the eyes and I was like, well, it's called Demon is on the Island. So that's the demon.
Well, technically, I guess it is.
I mean, kind of. I mean, it's a child. So I guess
it's not the demon.
Yeah.
It's the demon's what did to him.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I got the curse thing makes sense too, because it's very because right away everybody is against this Dr. Marshall, and it seems like previous doctors died and stuff. So you're thinking something's happening.
Yeah, and then you actually see what belongs to those eyes, and you see this child, and then So when I first saw the child, I was like, oh, it's aliens, and. Because the head's so goddamn big.
It is.
It's mega mind.
It creeped me out. I was not expecting. There's a couple moments in this movie that just took me by surprise, and that was one of them. She's walking just through the aisles, and in the background, it almost looks. The kid looks mechanical. Yeah, it looks like a Chucky doll. I thought it looked just like a Chucky doll to me. And when it happened, I was like, "Holy shit!" I stopped it and rewound it because it was so creepy. I didn't even want to move on. I wanted to guess: is this an adult or is this a child? Yeah. Is this a robot? Very scary. It scared me. I was by myself.
Aww.
In a strange place.
So we're jumping ahead a little bit here to the reveal, but I needed to know where your thoughts were on where is this going? What is this going to be?
Yeah.
What we do find out once, I mentioned in the film summary when Dr. Martin starts investigating and she's looking through Dr. Marshall's records and x-rays, MRIs. He's got computerized medical records for, I guess they had those in 1983, but it just feels like everyone was still on paper charts back then. But anyway.
Yeah, no, he had a lot of floppy disk or hard disks and stuff.
Floppy disks, yeah. And she mentioned something about like neuroendocrine disorders and things like that. There was a few like medical terms that I had to be like, okay, pause. I need to look that up because like I can take the two words and I know what the two words are, but like as an actual definition. So neuroendocrine cells receive and send messages through hormones to help the body function. Okay. So it would make sense that this child and then all the other people who've been affected by things that the child touched have some sort of neuroendocrine imbalance because he has apparently like a excess of neuroendocrine, and that's what causes his telepathy or telekinesis.
Yeah, some sort of telekinetic, power, superpower.
Yeah.
So he is initiating these. He's just like putting his sauce on these appliances and...
Ew, actually, that's gross. Wild Lance.
His magic sauce. his brain juice, if you will. Okay. His head juice.
All right.
Okay, I'll stop.
Oh, God.
I know. I turned around and drove back.
Yeah.
And so that's what's making them act on their own, or the people that are touching it are also engaged in...
I think it's like this transference thing. So child has like excess neuroendocrine whatever.
Right.
He touches the coffee maker. They take it home and it whatever does it, blows steam in the girl's face or whatever, and now it's transferred onto her, and so now she has excessive neuroendocrine cells or something like that. I could be completely wrong.
No, I like this.
Leroy can definitely come to me and be like, "Hey, but he's dead." Sorry, I forgot to mention that. That's my assessment of like how the whole thing worked. And
I was going to ask because I was a little confused, and I even like wrote in my notes like, it's not fully explained, but maybe there are hints in, these poorly translated subtitles and all that scientific medical shit that they talk. I'm glad you looked up those words.
What we don't know, though, is why the kid's doing this. Like, why are we hurting? The doctor, Marshall, says something at a certain point, like, oh, I'm conducting experiments and we can learn so much about the brain from him. And I'm like, so is he... telling this child like, hey, put your brain juice on the things and see what happens?
It's probably just the kid like escaping from his little cubby hole and just going through. I mean, he's younger than like an adolescent, but he's just growing and probably unintentionally doing this like with the power he has or something. Yeah.
Well, he's 10 years old, so he's probably bored, and he doesn't have a Nintendo because he's not being well taken care of in his little level room. So, and he
I don't know. They need to find him a big hat.
Oh my God, they need the biggest hat ever. They need that, like those oversized foam hats that people wear at sports ball.
Yeah. The Astros, they have a big orange cowboy hat.
There you go.
Like, yeah, that would. I mean, he doesn't need it. He just has to put like a hollow, like a big frisbee around it. It looks like he's got a cowboy hat on. Look at the head on that kid. Check out the big brain on Brett. I did put in my letterbox that, he looks like the kid, the love child of, if you ever fantasized about Rosalba Neri and her creature that she creates in Lady Frankenstein, just going at it, and they have a love child. I mean,
that was the purpose of her creating it. So
exactly. This kid is the offspring of that. Because he's got the head of the creature, which doesn't look good, like as far as makeup goes. But
no, it doesn't. He is terrifying. And I know we're supposed to look at him and like feel bad for him because he's got those like big doe eyes. But I'm like, ew. Yeah. Giant head.
I think he has those doe eyes is because as a young actor, he's suffering from the weight of that head that's on him. He's like, it's crushed. He has no emotion. He's all crying.
That's why he walks the way he does. Like, it's not because he's just like some weird kid. He's like balancing what's on top of his head.
Yeah. But yeah, when he walks like from behind and you don't catch his face, his little boy face, it's terrifying. It looks really scary. But yeah, once he turns around, he's like crawling through the hay. You're like, this is just bizarre.
Yeah. What's weird though is like the tone of the film, because if you look at the letterbox, it's like appliances gone wild, bleh. And it's like you think it's going to be some goofy horror movie about just that, about appliances killing people, and it's mainly like they're just maiming people for the most part,
right?
And it does kill. There are some deaths at the end with like the gas canister on the boat and things like that. We'll go through the maimings and kills and stuff like that too, but tone wise, this isn't something, I don't think, that if you gave this to like some, American exploitation director, it would be a complete like schlock fest.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, this seems to focus in on like consumerism, because like all the commercials and the funny jingles that go on throughout this movie, which are fantastic.
Yeah.
The Hollywood chewing gum and like, so yeah, at first that was another aspect that I quickly noticed, because they immediately started showing like appliances on the countertop and a lot of commercials, and also this has to be something about like consumerism or materialism or something. But then it focuses mainly just on all the characters in this small town, which, yeah, cool, the appliances are like killing them and stuff, but the characters, like it, and here I go again, but I love a movie that reminds me of Twin Peaks.
It's got that vibe, and I thought of you when I watched this.
Yeah,
so.
Small town, everybody knows each other, everybody has a story to tell about somebody in the town, whether it's real or fiction. Like I said with Duperret, like very unreal like reactions and just characteristics that are kind of realistic in a way, and in a very real life manner. Like if you take a step back, you're like, oh, that's like my neighborhood. Like, yeah, it's very strange. And then there's like a lot of scenes too when Gabrielle, when she's having the memory of this car wreck that that killed her family. There's a blue strobe light that hits her when she's going through this memory. Very much reminded me of like the scenes in Fire Walk with Me when Laura Palmer's having her breakdown. Yeah. I mean, definitely not purposefully Twin Peaks inspired, but anything that whenever I'm caught in that mood, I'm immediately like sold, and I'm giving it that letterboxed orange heart for sure. The music too, it's very a character in and of itself, and it just kind of, I don't know, it almost seems like almost the town inhabitants might have like had their own theme or something like it does in Twin Peaks. It's, I don't know, to me it's just about getting lost in these characters, because there's a lot of scenes of just them talking and like getting to know the townsmen, the townspeople.
Yeah. I mean, I agree, like without, especially like the two lead performances really, I mean, but all like the little side characters are, fun too. Like the old man, when the first lady whose face gets burned by the coffee, and the old man who's like, I called the doctor, and she comes back when she's working in the field. Right. And he's just like, about it. He's just so like, I can't stop her. And I'm like, well, it's true, I guess, but I do like all the little side characters. And Marie,
Marie the gossiper, like she kind of saves the day, because she's feeding Dr. Martin like all the information and stuff. She's really helping her out, kind of solving this creepy mystery. Yeah. But why so right off the bat, everybody seems to want to get rid of Dr. Marshall. Yeah. And it almost has the, obviously some of the people knew about him, and well, they all went to him, and his advice seems very off. Yeah. When it comes to like having children or giving up children. But why didn't they just like work together and get him off? I guess because it's on an island. Like. Yeah, it's like
I don't know I know like the town council brought Dr. Martin on. They're like, we all wanted you to come and work here. And it's like, okay, if you can vote her in, can't you vote Dr. Marshall out?
Seems like.
Or is he just like, he just seems like the kind of person who'd be like, yeah, I heard you, but I'm not leaving.
Yeah. Yeah. He seems to hold a lot of power, and people just seem intimidated by him throughout the whole movie, which totally works again, like in his performance. Yeah. But yeah, as soon as like everybody was bad talking Dr. Marshall, but sometimes he's on screen with them like scenes later, and they're all kind of talking nice with him. I'm like, I guess it's just small town mentality. Yeah. But it was interesting to me that everybody hated Dr. Marshall right away. And at first I was like, this guy's kind of cool. But then we found out.
Yeah. Well, one of the things I like too, and I think besides the performances, is the way that they build tension with it. Yes. And like there's a few scenes in particular, but once you know what's happening, like after the coffee scene, you're like, okay. I mean, even like if I told people like, oh, objects are killing people,
Right.
That probably even spoiled it for like the first, like the coffee steam in the face. So sorry, everyone. But like anything after that, and especially the scene where it's like the little girl is like slicing carrots toward herself.
Yeah, who the fuck? I was like, this little bitch better get what she deserves. Because who the fuck? Like, that is my favorite scene. Because everybody is in that house has a situation where you're like, okay, this is it.
Yep.
The dad's got his head and his hand in the television set and the wiring, the electrical wiring. The mom is like opening up cans.
Yeah, and she's like using her fingers on the open thing, and I was like, well, you're gonna cut your finger.
Everybody has in their life. So I was like, okay. And you just don't know because it keeps shifting between each family member. And it had me like laughing. I was like, I'm so nervous and tense right now. Like I have to react in some like audible way. And that scene is my favorite because what happens to the mom and how everybody is just slow and calm, like, hey, get your arm out of the oven.
Yeah.
So the mom gets her arm caught in the oven, and then the oven starts just burning her hand to a crisp.
It cooks that fucking arm too, and they're being very calm about it. Like they pick it up eventually, but at first they're just like, what?
Well, she dies, right?
I don't know. Like
she falls to the ground.
It seems like it.
And
It was
her
just like
eyes are open. Yeah,
you know,
and then like her just skeleton burnt hand or jerky hands all, and they're just standing back there around there.
I think she's dead, but like that's the thing is, okay, so we can back up and go through the maimings and the kills in order. So it starts with the disposable razor before Dr. Martin ever shows up. This is like the very opening of the scene. The mayor is using some razor that, oh my God, how is he not dead?
Well, first off, if you nick yourself, his first nick was pretty high up in the cheek, and I was like, okay, I would replace the razor there. I'd replace that blade. That's not like you're pressing too hard or anything. And then he does it again, and then it becomes like Martin Scorsese's The Big Shave, where it's not just a nick. It's like dripping blood on the floor where it's soaking up a whole fucking bath towel.
Yeah.
I'm like, this guy should be dead. He's cut a major artery, and he's just like, fuck, shit. And he throws a razor in a trash can. I mean, learn to shave, Richard the Mayor.
Well, it's the knife or the razor was cursed with the brain juice.
It was cursed, and then the wound seemed to heal incredibly fast.
It did,
which was.
I mean, maybe that was his scars were to show the passage of time on the island. Who knows?
Yeah,
I don't know.
Could be.
Probably not. Then we have the coffee maker, which steams the woman's face, which we mentioned. The electric knife, which. That was the only thing in the scene, and so like we know it's coming, but the fact that it went off without being plugged in was great. But it's another just like in the oven scene, the wife so calm.
Yeah, she has the wherewithal to just be like, okay, I'm gonna go to the kitchen, fill up a bucket of ice, and put his fingertips into those bucket of ice.
Yeah.
Like
I would
Giselle's
be screaming.
a pro.
I would be screaming. I would be like, all right, where are the fingers? Make sure the dog doesn't eat them. Like, and she's just like, okay, let's get your fingers. Let's go to the hospital.
Yeah.
Like,
It's again, like the families just don't seem to care when their loved ones are just like being destroyed.
Yeah.
They're just going to I mean, it's probably a good thing how they're handling it. Yeah. Nobody wants people freaking out, but that'd be me.
The other red herring appliance in this is the pressure cooker. That is going off in the kitchen when the little girl gets her new drumming teddy bear. And this is obviously, if you don't know me, this is my favorite, of course.
Yes.
There's this, like those monkeys that play the cymbals. You have a teddy bear that's drumming its drums with its stick, and it stops and it turns towards the little girl and it just fucking sticks the fucking drumstick right in her eye.
Yes, you get that Fulci-esque, that eye trauma. And it's good effect too.
Yeah.
All the effects are good in this.
Yeah. And and then as soon as that's done, he goes straight back to drumming again. Yeah. He's just like, all right, back to work.
I love it.
Yeah. Then we have the champagne glass that breaks like.
Oh yeah.
I think it's the pharmacist. He's taking a sip of champagne at a wedding or an engagement party or something.
For like his daughter or something.
Yeah. And glass just breaks in his mouth. The oven, we talked about that one already. I think she is dead. I think it's kind of like escalating at this point. Like, but for the most part, like we don't get confirmation that the little girl died. Like,
right.
So I didn't count her. I will count 2 more later, though. But yeah, it's all just like this sort of maiming up until like the oven. I think she's dead, but they didn't like say.
You don't know. Yeah. She should live from that, but maybe the blood loss that's cooked on. It seemed to be cauterized. I don't know.
Who knows? But then we have, and I'm not counting this, obviously, we find out what Dr. Martin's background trauma was. You know, her husband and her son died in a car crash. They show it in the flashback, so I did count it.
I might have to argue the next child death.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. So we're at the ending, but let's talk about so Dr. Marshall's plan that he has. He's basically, what happened is there was this couple, the Coidiers, I think. Mm-hmm. They were much older. Like when we meet them and we're like, they surely did not have a child 10 years ago. But it turns out that they did, but they had told everyone in the town, the Dr. Marshall, he had even signed a death certificate that the baby was born dead. But in fact, they kept it alive and in this like hidden room in a storage place or barn or something like that.
In the supermarket, right?
It was attached to the supermarket. It was like, so like he could go into the supermarket at night.
They went under.
But so we find out that there's this child that has this giant fucking head and it has these abilities, and the Dr. Marshall all these years has been using and doing experiments on him. Once Dr. Martin figures all of this out, she goes to him and is like trying to comfort him. And she wants to take him away from Dr. Marshall and have him, examined and get healthy and whatever. I don't know, maybe like cut his brain in half or something. Have a normal size head. Who knows?
Yeah, I don't know.
So you're going to argue against his death?
Well, no. I mean, I guess since you've kind of explained more of the, the powers that he had. Mm-hmm. Because at the end, which again, this is another scene that took me completely by surprise. So we're just gonna say the kid is killed.
Yeah.
In the barn.
Telekinetic suicide.
Yeah, he has like a box or something falling on him, right?
Well, it's a giant metal claw, like grabber.
Oh, that's right.
Thing.
That's right.
He like moves under it specifically, and like he makes the chain that's holding it break, and it drops right on him. So I mean. Yeah, technically, I think telekinetic suicide. So
yeah, that's how it plays out.
Yeah,
but then he's getting a burial, and he's in the coffin,
right,
underground, or it hasn't been buried yet. But Dr. Marshall shows up.
Okay, so all right. So this is why you think he's still alive.
This is the scene where I'm just like. First off, another scene that took me completely by surprise, another half star added. Like, Dr. Marshall starts getting slowly sucked underground.
Into the dirt next to the grave, yeah.
Yeah, and I'm thinking, okay, the kid's doing this.
Yeah, same.
I feel like this is a power that, he's beyond life, I guess, at this point. He's some sort of, like,
he's
maybe
transcendental
force.
now.
Yeah, so his body's dead, probably, but I don't know.
I mean, it probably takes a lot for that brain to die. This is fucking big, y'all.
Yeah, I mean, that coffin should have been shaped like a light bulb. They should have. That should have. I feel like they missed an opportunity there. Now that you said that, I didn't even think of that big head. They probably just shaved it down, and they're all. We got one size kid coffin. Shave his head.
Yeah, that moment, and like it's Dr. Martin and I think the mayor are just watching it happen as he's being slowly pulled into the dirt, and they're just like, huh, okay.
Yeah, another moment where you're like, these people are just so calm when something's happening and somebody's slowly dying, and they're just like, wow.
Yeah.
So absurd. I just love, there are some, obviously there's supernatural elements with his powers and stuff. One scene was when she's in Dr. Martin is in her home, and the frame of her family, of her dead family, goes up on its own.
Yeah.
I guess that's just a power that was a weird little supernatural element that was like, I like how a lot of this isn't explained.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it has me asking questions like, what is that about?
Well, is it like, so then you have to think, okay, well, maybe he doesn't have to touch things and he has true telekinesis, but I don't know, because the light bulb over her bathtub.
Oh yeah.
Which, why do you have that there? That's very poor design.
Yeah.
I know she didn't build it, but I'm just saying. But yeah, like, I'm like, oh, well, did the kid touch the light bulb or at some point?
Right.
Maybe.
Is he doing it, or do other people have these powers? Yeah. Does his parents have the powers? But they're not murderers. Yeah, it's just strange.
Yeah.
Strange parts of the movie.
Yeah.
That I love.
Yeah, I like it a lot too. I actually liked it more the second time around. I think I gave it 3 stars the first time I watched it, and then on the rewatch, I was like, yeah, 3.5. I like this a lot more the next time around. Now that I kind of know what it is, and I'm like able to focus more on like those things, the lack of reaction to these just horrific things happening. It's I love it.
Yeah. I think it's more so about, like, I know all the taglines and everything. All the reviews say like appliances gone wild. I think it is like a character study of just how absurd a small town can be with a demon on the island. Who is the demon? Dr. Marshall.
I think he's the demon.
That's
Man is the most evil creature. So yeah, it's definitely him, not the mutant, giant-headed alien robot child.
That kid looked like my older brother Ryan. Like, Ryan looked just like that kid without the head. Like, take that head off, show me the kid with the normal head. He looks like Ryan. Like,
that's funny.
That's another thing that freaked me out. Like, at first I thought it was some robot. Then thought it was a little man dressed like Chucky. And then the kid turns around, it's my brother, and I'm like, what the fuck is happening?
All right. So, how about your double feature pick?
Yeah, I'm wondering if we're gonna. I feel like there's a chance we pick the same one.
I don't think so.
Oh, okay. I like your confidence, because mine are pretty well known. So let's see. So for the consumerism like aspect of Demon is on the Island, I immediately, as all these commercials, and it almost like was forcing these people to buy these appliances so the story could move along. I thought of They Live for a second. I thought of Leonard Cohen's The Stuff. And then the powerful, trippy kid. When he's introduced, I was like, Children of the Damned, Village of the Damned popped into my brain. But I landed on Halloween 3, Season of the Witch, which is an odd one, you think?
I don't think it's odd. I think it's the greatest movie ever made. So, I mean, you can pick it for any movie, and I'm in.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, the best sequel, right, of the franchise. I love Part 2. Part 2 might be my favorite.
Oh, my God. Get out of here.
Part 3, yeah. Season of the Witch is the easily most rewatchable for me.
Yeah.
But mainly because the kid was kind of like a Connell Cochran, where he would, and this was before I figured out more about his brain juice. Sorry, I'm using that. But there were these objects being purchased, and the merchandise was killing people. And Cochran was doing it intentionally with these masks. I started thinking, like, if Demon is on the Island took place during Halloween, who's to say the costumes and the masks, wouldn't start killing these people as well?
Right, yeah.
So I just leaned with that, like, just strange, items at a supermarket killing people.
I like it.
Thank you. What's your double feature?
I went more with, I was more focused on the tension of you're seeing these items and something's about to happen, but you don't know what or how. And so I think like the ultimate in that is Final Destination and like the logs, like driving behind that. Like I think anyone who's seen that movie will like never drive behind a truck like that ever again in their life. I think some of the films that played in that series that I mentioned at the Cinematheque could work. I don't know that I necessarily, after watching China Syndrome, I don't really think so much that works because there's no sort of supernatural element. I could definitely see like, Maximum Overdrive or Christine maybe.
Right.
And even The Mangler and, the elevator movies, Dick Moss's. Yeah, I mean, I went cheesy and dumb as hell. I'm going with Amityville Dollhouse, baby.
Oh, shit.
From 1996.
A 90s movie.
So honestly, any of the cursed objects Amityville movies would totally work with this. The It's About Time with the cursed clock. There's another one that's what's in the other one? I can't remember the other one in that box. Anyway, Amityville Dollhouse out of that set was my favorite. I'm not saying it's great, but it is dumb and fun. And I think it kind of offsets Demon is on the Island, especially because the tone is not the sort of goofy killer objects movie that you think it's going to be. So I think, definitely play Demon is on the Island first. And then it's like, okay, let's, shrink your brains, folks. We're going to watch an Amityville sequel. This one in particular, Amityville Dollhouse, it's about a family whose new house is built on the same site as the original. Obviously, it's haunted. There's a dollhouse that's basically like acting, like is making things happen in the house and killing people. So it's probably on Tubi. I think the Vinegar Syndrome box set's probably long sold out by now, but I'm sure it's on Tubi. So
yeah, it looks like it is. I haven't watched any of those.
They're dumb and fun.
Yeah,
so.
no, I think I would. I mean, me, I like fucking like Doll Man and
you'd want Doll Man to live in the Amityville Dollhouse, I'm sure.
Oh shit, it's a crossover I want.
All right, Lance, next episode.
Okay, so I'm picking a film that I've talked about multiple times on the podcast. Maybe starting with Blood-Sucking Pharaohs in Pittsburgh.
Oh boy.
I definitely discussed it for Horror Gives Back a few years ago because it was my 1980s horror pick.
Okay.
And it was one of my Blu-ray wishlist picks last year. I think it deserves a full episode. I want to watch it again. Deranged from 1987.
Oh, okay.
Directed by Chuck Vincent and starring Veronica Hart, who's also in Blood-Sucking Pharaohs. She plays Joyce, a pregnant woman who is left alone in her apartment by her philandering husband. And when a masked intruder breaks into the apartment and attacks her, she murders him and hides him under the table. And then alone with this dead man, she slowly loses her mind in her isolation, reliving moments from her life, fantasizing about making changes, and just having this wild time combining her imagination with these traumatic events that really are kind of like her whole life. So it's kind of, there's some upsetting like subject matter.
Okay.
I think it's Chuck Vincent's only like true horror. He was he did a lot of adult films that obviously Veronica Hart is in, but this is a great one. I mean, I've talked about it a lot. I'm excited to talk about it with you.
Yeah.
I know it's been on a lot of our listeners' watch list on Letterboxd, so I'm hoping I can kind of check this off of their list with this episode. So it has 245 views on Letterboxd. It's streaming. There's a bunch of uploads on YouTube. It's on Daily Motion. All of them are kind of the same quality. That's why I want a Blu-ray release. But yeah, Deranged, 1987.
All right. Looking forward to getting it off my watch list.
Nice.
All right. If you're not already, you can follow this podcast on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. Thank you. All at Unsung Horrors. I'm on Letterboxd, Instagram, and Twitter at Hex Massacre.
I'm on Letterboxd and Instagram at Schibi.
And Lucy is...
She is not ready for bed like us.
Oh my God. Jesus. Lucy, what are you eating?
Is there catnip down
Lucy,
there?
what are you eating? Don't eat foam. Okay. End of podcast. All right. Thanks everyone for listening. We'll see you back next episode for Deranged.
Bye.
Bye.